Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us again on the Bellevue Club Swim Team podcast. Again, we are finishing up a 3-part series with Kim Williams and her Stanford women teammates. It's awesome that Kim has dedicated a lot of time, and we have a very special guest tonight, Olympian Ledecky. Katie and Kim, thank you again for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
I feel like I should cheer.
and you know, we have a new guest in Kelly.
Oh, hey guys.
You know, Evan's
Bellevue Club swimmers.
Evan's been with us, and you know, now Kelly's joining us. Man, 3 Ks on this call. This is going to be a really difficult conversation for me.
Yeah, you're the outlier.
I know, seriously. But before we begin, Kim, just like the other 2 shows, we're going to do a little rapid fire questions on behalf of Kelly. Katie, this is not hard at all. And as Kim will tell you, this was not rapid fire at all with the other 2.
No, I know we're going to end up like thoroughly discussing some of these. They're very surface level, but it you know, it goes a lot. One at a time, or?
Why don't we go in the order? Let's go Kim and then Katie.
All right. Okay. These are real hard hitting. Sweet or savory?
Sweet.
Katie?
Oh, Dex, just sliding in.
Sliding in. You were too slow.
Okay.
Rapid fire.
Rapid fire. You're right.
Kim, what was yours?
Sweet.
Sweet. All right. Vanilla or chocolate?
Vanilla.
Chocolate.
Morning person or night owl?
Morning person.
Morning.
By default because of the sport, or what would you be if you didn't swim?
Probably by default.
Yeah.
I have a really hard time sleeping past 8.
Yeah, I don't swim anymore, and my body is naturally up at like 7:30 every day.
Welcome to adulthood, Kim.
Yeah. Favorite event as a 12 and under?
The 1,000.
Love it.
As a 12 and under, I was kind of like freestyle and butterfly as a 12 and under. Like I was pretty good at the 200 fly, but I wouldn't say that was my favorite event. I guess probably the 500 or 200 free.
Yeah. Consistent. Like a food that you hate or strongly dislike?
Tomatoes.
Tomatoes?
Hate tomatoes.
Wow.
I know like everyone's a big fan of mangoes, and I don't love mangoes. I love most other foods.
Rapid fire.
Okay, I wouldn't say it's a food that I hate though. So I don't know. I don't have a good answer.
No, I mean, you gotta like have a burning passion to have that answer, because we would have meal orders for the team. I don't know if you remember this, Katie, but like I would always put on like every meal order, like no tomatoes, or like on a sandwich or on a salad or whatever we were getting. And then Janet would go back and put extra tomatoes on mine. And I would get so mad because I hate tomatoes so much. It just ruins the whole thing. So that's my big one. I feel passionately about that answer.
I don't think I have a passionate answer either. Alone, Katie. But I like the enthusiasm, Kim. Do you have
actually, I just popped in my mind. I'm not a big fish eater. I don't like fish.
Oh yeah, you don't do sushi.
No, I've never even tried sushi because I know I won't like it.
Right then, the meeting has officially come to order. Let us all say the pledge. I am a nice shark, not a mindless eating machine. If I am to change this image, I must first change myself. Fish are friends, not food.
Okay.
But the only fish I really eat is salmon and sometimes tuna salad. But apart from that, I do not like the texture. And Kim, were you there when I tried lobster for the first time at Mr. Arriaga's house?
Yes.
And then he put me on the spot and asked me how it was.
And your eyes, oh my gosh, you were
good.
It was tender. I don't know what you said.
I was really forced to try this lobster because it was incredible, and It wasn't bad. I mean, I did it, but I didn't like the texture.
Yeah, I was at your table and he definitely called you out. Oh my god.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I was a late in life fish, even just liker. I'm not a lover at this point. Do you have a favorite joke? And if you do, what is it?
I have one.
If you're
You do?
all right, I'll fill the void, you guys.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to hear a pizza joke?
Sure.
Nah, it's cheesy.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, when you used to teach swim lessons to 6-year-olds, you got those up your sleeve.
I had to be told the joke like before I swam when I was on Bellevue Club. I like grew out of that. But Andy used to like literally behind the blocks like walk over. And this is probably still my favorite joke for that reason, because it would make me swim faster. He'd go, "Did you hear about the fire at the circus? It was intense." And I would just laugh, and then I'd swim better than I probably would have if he hadn't said that.
Now that Andy's gone, Dwight is just the go-to for those jokes.
Coat jokes.
All right, New York or LA?
New York.
New York, yeah.
I thought I maybe shouldn't even ask because you guys both went to college in California, but I'm glad I asked. Palo Alto is a lot different than LA. So it's pet peeve.
Pet peeve. I don't know if this counts. I think Katie knows this about me, but when people put any kind of cloth in their mouth, like if they like bite their towel in the locker room, Katie, you know, because I would yell at people in the locker room, like Katie G, when she would put her towel in her mouth. They made fun of me for it quite a bit in their freshman skit, but I just can't stand when people change and put their towel in their mouth and they're like, I hate that.
That's hilarious.
Wow, I didn't know.
Pet peeve.
Like, for example, mine is being able to hear chewing sounds. Like when people chew.
You're like my sister.
Like gum too.
That's not really a problem. It's just like eating.
Okay, like munching.
I don't know if I have a good pet peeve.
Not much.
If you think of one,
it'll
because
come.
when you think of
It'll
one,
come.
yeah.
We'll be in the next
all right.
conversation, and I'll just interrupt it.
Please, I'll be so curious. All right, last one. If you could swim in any other liquid than water, what would it be?
I've never gotten that question.
Keeping you guys on your toes.
I don't know why my first instinct was apple juice.
All right.
Oh.
It'd be really sticky afterwards.
We can't think too hard about it. Yeah.
Like that.
I don't know, like chocolate syrup or.
Oh,
wow.
All right.
You can move through that.
Yeah, yes, she can. She's strong, and then when she
I
gets,
don't know.
she's so powerful.
Wasn't there? I remember there was a MythBusters episode with Nathan Adrian.
Yeah.
What was the liquid that they were? It was something about can you swim through? Was it
something
syrup or milk or something?
I think it was syrup. I think it was something super, super thick. And you're talking
Not
about
Jello. I don't think that's too hard.
Yeah.
It was actually like the fact that he was able to get in that and actually move. It was like, okay, well, wow, that was very, very impressive.
I was scared if it was syrup, like to be able to lift my head, like if it would
You
get
can't breathe.
I couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you think of anything with your pet peeve, Katie, don't be afraid to shout it out mid-conversation.
Oh, yeah.
I'm already planning on that. I'm just picturing us like mid-sentence, and she's just gonna.
I guess. No, that's not really a pet peeve. As I was gonna say, as we were talking about the swimming through something, I was thinking, like, I don't really like swimming in the ocean or not being able to see. I guess that's kind of something I don't like. That's not a pet peeve though. I have about
you really don't like. I don't know.
It's not, yeah, it's not something that I don't like when I see other. A pet peeve is when you see somebody else doing something.
Kinda, yeah.
More so than, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's all good.
What about like your fear of cats is like a pet peeve?
Oh,
like,
yes.
Yeah, I guess.
Cats.
Yeah, I'm pretty afraid of cats.
Yeah.
I'm allergic. I'm deathly allergic. So
Keep him away from
definitely
Andrew.
afraid.
I mean, the fact that their nails can just come out of nowhere, that's enough for me.
They're so cute.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, Kim. I had no idea.
What's his name again? Arthur. Yeah.
Oh, Kim, I had no idea.
She
We're
adopted it
fostering.
for quarantine. Oh,
Yeah.
foster.
All right.
Well, thank you, girls, for that.
We learned a lot.
Yeah, seriously, Kim, I had no idea about a lot of stuff. So kind of, before we kind of dive into the accolades and your time at Stanford and whatnot, Kim's given us a lot of insight, and with her being an alum and an all-time sweetheart of the Bellevue Club Swim Team, she, the program knows a lot about her. Katie, obviously, do you want to take us through how you grew up? And I actually, and I want to mention this before you talk about your club days, but I actually talked to Yuri 2 or 3 years ago at Speedo Grand Challenge, and it was right before he recruited Kyle Millis to Berkeley. And I don't know, we were just nerding out, and I said, what would you do differently with your age groupers? And he's like, looking back on it, I would have done 3 weeks of hard stuff and then 1 week of recovery. And I don't know how much he throttled you when at practice or how much he killed you all, but I brought that back to my club kids, and they were like, that'd be so nice to have a week of recovery. And I think Kim can probably relate with the way she did things at Bellevue Club too. But that's just a little side tangent. But yeah, how did you grow up, and what was it like growing up on the East Coast?
Yeah, so I'm from Bethesda, Maryland, and I started swimming when I was 6 years old for a summer league swim team. I don't know, do you guys have summer league swim teams up there? Okay, I think everywhere does, but summer league is a really big deal in the Montgomery County area where I'm from, and I joined a pool with my family, and my brother is 3 years older than me, and he really wanted to join the swim team, and we didn't really know anybody at this pool. It wasn't our neighborhood pool, really. It was about 10 or 15 minutes away from our house, so a lot of people we didn't know. So the easiest way to meet a lot of people is to join the swim team. So we joined the team, and by the end of the summer, we had 100 new friends, and we really loved it and started swimming year-round that fall, and started swimming for Nation's Capital Swim Club. Then it was called Curlberg, and we were in the developmental group to start, and then my brother quickly, I guess, knew the strokes well enough to join the real team, and then about half a year later, I was able to join the 8 and under group. So then, I was on that team all the way through high school. As you said, Yuri was my coach from about age 10 to 15. So took me through my first Olympics in 2012. And then I was coached by Bruce Gemmel from 2012 to 2016. And then I came out to Stanford in the fall of 2016. And that's where I am now. So I've known Kim since, I think, like 2011 probably. We went to the same national select camp.
So cool.
We probably met, I don't know if we met before that at junior nationals or anything. Probably not. We didn't really swim the same events.
We met at like national select camp, but like I only remember interacting. And,
I don't know if we even talked very much.
Not really. Like dining hall, like once or twice, and then we did that. What are they even called?
Icebreakers.
Flash dance.
Like, oh yes.
What was it called?
We did a flash mob.
Flash mob. We did a flash mob at national select camp, and I remember I was dancing, like in one, like a group with the I don't know. It was a little cringy.
I think our whole Stanford recruiting class was at that national select camp, plus a couple others.
Yeah.
Here ahead of us. So we met then, and then I guess we were being recruited like 2 or 3 years later.
Yeah.
And then, so Kim and I were in the same recruiting class, and then I took a gap year between high school and college. So then I was technically in the year under Kim. So, and then we roomed together my sophomore year, Kim's junior year, with there were 6 of us, all swimmers. And we had, what was it? It was 2 sophomores, 3 juniors, and 1 senior. So it was really a really fun group, kind of all different ages on the team or years on the team.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we still do our little like weekly calls in quarantine with that roommate group, which has been really fun.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then we also, I feel like I have to mention, Katie, because our majors and like academic path is like identical, which like on the team, a lot of people go for like human biology or whatever, but me and Katie have the same major advisor, same major, same minor, same track within the minor, I think.
I didn't do a specific track, but we have the same advisor, so we kind of have the same interest.
Yeah. A lot of the same classes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
and
awesome.
that major and minor are
psychology major, and then I might minor in poli-sci, which is what Kim minored in.
Yes. And Kim did touch base on her journey to determining why she went to major in psychology. Right. And it's been pretty cool to hear. You two came in with a studly class. Obviously Greg and Tracy recruited the both of you along with others. I remember right before Kim left for Stanford, the humility that you showed, Katie, when you texted the rest of the class saying, hey, this is what I'm going to do. I plan to take a gap year. I will let you know right now, Kim's all like, hey, like she didn't really need to text me, but the fact that she did, I know that Kim was just like flabbergasted, and she was super excited to have you as a teammate. She was like, dude, why another year, right? And
I'm surprised you remember that. I totally forgot about that.
Like the reason I remember it, Kim, is because you came on deck and you were so impressed, but then you were like so thankful that you were going to have Katie as a teammate like that. Not because like Katie is Katie, but more so, hey, like this is a great human being who's going to be my teammate. And I don't know, that's just spoke volumes. And that's why I remember it, Kim, because I remember your reaction. Like,
yeah, no, I remember getting that text now. I just like forgot. I don't know.
It feels so long ago, right? I mean, it's it was I remember that, and just being recruited with that class was fun, and we all stayed in good touch that whole year leading up to it. And I was kind of bummed I wasn't going to be part of that class, but I knew that I would still be really connected with them. And obviously I had a great class at Stanford too on the team, but just felt really connected with all of them.
We were always like honorary member of our class.
Yeah, right.
Being like 3 people. So if we did at practice like class relays, Katie
would be the 4th. Because our class is a little bigger, so
yeah. So that was fun. And we had to like cook meals as classes in our preseason trip.
I did that once.
So we had more people. So you're always an honorary member.
Yeah.
Of the class of 2019.
I have a question. I'm curious. So I coach 13, 14-year-olds mainly. I help Andrew with the national kids, but and I had like a really old school distance coach growing up, and I did some distance events.
So did Kim.
And so since I coach the 13, 14-year-olds, I'm always trying to balance just that, like, you need to get the yardage in, but also keeping it interesting. And I know my background and how that plays into my coaching. But anyway, since you're, big time distance, I'm curious how your training was just, briefly when you were younger, and then how it's like changed over the years.
Yeah, that's a good question.
If any,
Yeah, I think, I guess I never had a coach that was like full old school, like 10,000 a day, I don't know, just
that's nice.
Big,
I'm laughing at Kim and Kelly right now.
But I guess when I think about it, I probably did my most yardage in a week, or like average practice maybe with Yuri. Except then I think I was only swimming about 8 times a week. And then with Bruce, I swam 9 times a week, and that was still, my yardage has probably been pretty similar since I was, I don't know, 14.
Yeah.
But I mean, Yuri did a lot of test sets, and we would do 600 for time, which isn't even that long, but I don't know. Like when I was 12, it was, I don't know, we would do the 600 for time every week. We did, I remember doing these thousands with Yuri where it was like 400 free, 400 IM, 200 kick, fast. We do like 3 of those. I remember he made me do an extra one once. What else? Let's see. But I guess it's always been kind of a balance of quantity and quality. I think all of my coaches have always erred more towards quality, and even if it's a lot of yardage, it's making sure a lot of it is fast or pace, or we use the color charts, the John Urbanchek color charts. I don't know if you're familiar with those.
Yes.
Yeah.
I started using those more regularly with Bruce in 2012 through 2016. We were pretty religious about using the charts and up the charts over time, and really felt like that helped me gauge my improvement in training, and then translate into meets really well. And then now with Greg, it's pretty similar. We use the colors a little bit, and I'm doing a little more long course training now, I would say, than I did back on the East Coast, just because we have a long course pool. And that's kind of my main focus now that I'm not swimming collegiately. So I'd say during the college season, I think like 5 or 6 of my 10 practices are long course, and then 4 are short course. And then after they're finished with the college season, I think we typically go, 7 or 8 long course and 2 or 3 short course. So I think that kind of changes things too, because long course workouts I feel like are pretty different than short course workouts. But yeah, it's just a balance. There's no one right way to do it. But yeah, I've done my fair share of 3,000s for time, and
all of us here.
All of us have.
Yeah, man. But I guess if I could ask him that same question, it would be like a big contrast.
Yeah. You're like, yeah.
And I would guess that your program is pretty similar, just based on how Kim, was an IMer. But I grew up swimming all 4 strokes in practice and training for lots of different things. It wasn't freestyle all the time. As I said earlier, I was a pretty good butterflyer and IMer when I was younger. So, Yuri had me do lots of 50s fly, I remember, and other stuff. And then just even as I started to specialize more in freestyle and distance freestyle, I still today do quite a bit of IM training just to mix it up. I think it's really good to, balance out your body and work on different strokes. And I don't know, I kind of feel like if I'm getting better at every stroke, I'm just becoming a better swimmer. And
I'm going to highlight that part of this webinar so that everyone hears that. Just like you mentioned Kim and the way she grew up. Kim said freestyle is her worst stroke, and it's kind of crazy because she was the fastest freestyle on our team. And I think growing up, Kim was always able to do every single stroke. And if she wanted to go get a record in the 200 back, by all means, she was going to do everything possible. And the girl, Kim, you did such a phenomenal job of training all 4 strokes. And, it showed in your 200 and 400 IM not just short course, but long course as well. So it's been pretty impressive. And Katie, the fact that you mentioned, training all 4 strokes and staying balanced and making sure that if I improve in all 4 strokes, I'll improve in my freestyle, for example.
Yeah.
It's exactly what Kelly's and even my kids need to hear. Our entire team needs to hear that.
I mean,
you do need to remind your swimmers that from time to time. I know how much, even through high school, I just was horrible at backstroke, and I just really hated doing backstroke sets. And Bruce had me do quite a bit of backstroke. And he would send me articles from time to time, about, I remember he sent me this one interview with Natalie Coughlin where she was talking about how this was when she was a freestyler, I think, like more of a freestyler than a backstroker. She was saying, I still do some backstroke because it opens up my shoulders and things like that. So he would, keep reminding me that this is good for you and it's helping your freestyle. We're not just doing it for the sake of trying to, I don't know, fool around or be a better backstroker. It's to, help you. So
yeah, I mean, with like, I don't know, I'm a little bit older, so Kim, you might, know Amber McDermott, but like,
Amber.
For her freestyle and her distance. And then, I would turn around and before college, she's going 4:11 in the 400 IM. And I'm like, wait, I thought you were the 4:38, 500 freestyler, but she could do that. Or, any teammate of mine, it was just like, I thought you were a 200 backstroker or vice versa. And they'd turn around and, go 450 in the 500. And that was like their 8th best event.
Kim became a breaststroker in college, and
yeah.
Transition from 400 IM to 100 breasts. So
yeah,
never pigeonhole too early.
Exactly. That's what don't even. Yeah.
And that's like Maya Dorado too. Like she made her first world championship team in the 200 fly. And like backstroke was good for her, but everyone considered her just a butterflyer. And then she worked on her IM and was training IM and did very well in the Olympics, obviously in that, but ended up being a gold medalist in the 200 back. So, and she was 23.
Yeah, that can be the second highlight, Andrew.
They were just showing the Olympic reruns on NBC a couple weeks ago, and I was watching Maya's race, and Rowdy or somebody said, this is, questionably her worst event, or, the event like lowest on the totem pole of these races that she's swimming this week, and she comes out and wins a gold medal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and she was put on the 800 freestyle relay and didn't even swim the 200 free at Olympic trials. And then she was on that relay in finals with you, Katie, and it was like so cool. I don't know, Maya was just good at everything and obviously didn't pigeonhole herself too early because she was 23 and at the end of her career. And I don't know.
Yeah, I love that. It's like if from a coach's perspective, and again, coaching slightly younger kids, obviously you should definitely not be committing to just a few events at 13, 14, but I've seen over the years, that age group, I'm this, I'm that. But it's like really you can get better at anything if you just are a little bit more open to it. And I see kids, I'm like, you're good at backstroke and you're telling yourself you're not very good at it. But from my angle, like if you just work on it a little bit more, it's right there for you. So yeah, you never want to, pull that blind down too early.
Speaking of just being well-rounded, she's had many stories about the legendary 400 IM, 200 IM group at Stanford and her practices. Katie, did you ever dabble in their practices with Kim?
Yeah, I joined the 400 IM group on Thursday afternoons at some point. I don't know, my freshman or sophomore, I think my sophomore year, and I've been in it the last couple of years. And yeah, those are tough ones.
Kim's laughing.
You left our 4 IM group at some point for the underwater group.
I know, I had to leave the 100 breaststroker. I'm so sad to leave that group.
But yeah, those are crazy practices, and it's like just that group is incredible. The first wave going off, there's like 3 sub 4 minute 400 IMers short course, plus, I mean, Ali Zeckley, like, should be under 4 minutes. She probably would have been if we had NCAAs this year. And then, like, I don't know, it was just, there are other sub 410 4-9ers and like 411 412. It's like just so deep, and anyone could be on a given day. And those are always hard but fun. I don't know, they're hard to describe, but you know, you're gonna have a good workout. It's gonna be tough, but it's also a pretty special feeling to kind of be a part of that group.
Love it. And the last two girls we had on the call, with Leah and Katie Drabot, and all three girls, including Kim, designated one practice per week that was the hardest, most dreadful practice. And I want to hear from you before Kim kind of reveals it.
I mean,
What was your?
You might have a different answer based on distance schedule, but we'll see.
What was the hardest workout of the week for the Stanford women's team?
I mean, Thursday afternoons are hard. 4 a.m. practice for me. And then there are two other groups, the underwater group and the 200 free kind of kick swim group. So across the board, that's probably the hardest practice, or one of the hardest practices. As our distance group, it's been 3 to 4, I guess 2 to 3 people the past couple of years. And sometimes Greg has us kind of break off from the main group on Tuesday afternoons, and those are pretty hard practices. It's just, I don't know, kind of test set kind of stuff and threshold, and pretty tough. So I would say one of those.
Exactly what they said.
If I could guess, what did they say?
Kim?
Wait, you have to guess.
I should guess. I would guess Draybot would say Monday afternoons. 500.
No. We all said the same thing. You had it.
They all said Tuesday or Thursday?
We said Tuesday. But you guys are doing like whatever, 10 100s or something, or like thousands or 3,000s for time or whatever you're doing over there. But there was only 2 or 3 of them, so everyone else suffered. I guess. Their practices that I thought you were going to say Saturday for you guys, because I feel like distance always has a super hard Saturday too.
Yeah, Saturdays are kind of a crapshoot, you know? You don't know what you're going to get. So it's hard to anticipate that being the hardest practice. And that practice is always kind of one that I always look forward to, because it's like, all right, you know it's going to be hard, it's going to be good, but then you have the rest of the weekend off.
Yeah, that feeling after Saturday practice is like the best feeling in the shower.
With the team or whatever.
It's so cool to hear like how we can all relate that after Saturday morning practice. Everyone's just like a breath of fresh air, and just like, oh, we're done, we did it. There were a few terms thrown around in the last 2 calls, Katie, between Kim and Katie and Leah, and it's just pretty cool that you women came up with terms that you use within the team, and it was groggling was one of them. Did you ever groggle?
Yeah, I mean, everyone has, right? I can't remember the last time I did, but actually probably last fall. There was one practice Greg gave me that kind of broke me down.
Oh my God.
Oh no.
I think it was a really hard practice, and I missed the interval, and I just got so mad at myself. I mean, I wasn't mad. I was just like, it was not going well. And I think it was like, there was a 200 on 150 at the very end, and I knew I wasn't going to make it.
200 on 150. Good.
I mean, I was supposed to be under one, and it wasn't my day to begin with. And then it just kept getting harder. So.
Yeah, I don't know what you're doing if you haven't done that, like either you're not training hard enough, or.
You're not training training hard enough if you're
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, my sister and I are 8 years apart, but we have the same national coach, and she swam at Florida with Greg Troy. I mean, she knew HELL. And we would just reminisce, even though we're so far apart in age. She'd be like, I know, our club coach would give you a set and you would just put your goggles on and like cry for the first 500, right? Because they were just so like ridiculous. I mean, so ridiculous and so long and so hard. And it's just like, you got to get it out. And you can only cry for so long. So
Right.
Yeah, then inhibits your breathing.
yeah.
Yeah. I feel like Greg's like, I don't know, Katie, you've been doing like those sets where like the interval drops down. Like, so I don't know, those are the ones that when we get to see what you do is like the most exciting. I don't know, like she's gonna make it, oh my God,
Well,
Yeah.
it's impressive what the entire program has done in the last few years together. You talk about when we had Leah on the show a few days ago, it was like, hey, that was the beginning of something really special. And up to this point, like with NCs getting canceled, everyone's kind of sitting in their position saying, hey, like what could have been, what could have happened and whatnot. Obviously Stanford, the women swam well at Pac-12s, and NCs was not going to be an exception. Like Stanford was going to be great at NCs. Listening to Kim's stories from NCs and just her time at Pac-12s, Kim has amazing memories, and I don't know, you were able to recall some great NCAA championships, Kim. Katie, Kim recalled 17 in, you said, where was Indy, right? And then the following year was in Ohio, right, Kim? Yeah. So, Kim mentioned something from those meets specifically. And, Kim, do you recall what you remembered from those meets? And I want to see if Katie kind of reacts the same way.
Like what? I don't feel like I picked a specific moment for 2017.
Or what was so special? What made 2018, what made 2017 so special?
I mean, 2017 was special just because that was our program's first title in 18 or 19 years. And that was just like something that nobody on that team had experienced before, including like our coaches and like our like staff and like trainers and everything. So it was just this collective, like euphoric, indescribable feeling at the end of all of it. And I don't know, that was kind of that moment, jumping in the pool and everything and celebrating afterwards was so special. I mean, I remember that meet also being I think I mentioned like a roller coaster of emotions, and it was like up and down with some like how we swam, but yeah, that one was like really special for that reason. And then 2018 was just so dominant. That was so fun, and it was just kind of like we put blinders on and just went, and everyone else, it was like, see you later. This is our meet. And that one was super special for different reasons, just records being shattered left and right, and we had been there before. And we I don't know, it definitely reminded me of Katie's talked about this a lot, but her I don't know who told you this quote, maybe your uncle or grandpa or something, but the like take the lead, keep the lead mentality. And it was just like that from the get-go of the 800 free relay. And there were so many special, like amazing swims there. But it's like hard to pinpoint a few. I don't know.
Katie, what do you remember from those meets?
Yeah, it's pretty similar. I mean, so Indy was my freshman year, and so yeah, it was like we came in and as freshmen, we didn't know what to expect with NCs, but we knew we had a chance to win, and we had so many alumni at the meet. I think, we hadn't won since 1998, I think. And I think a lot of the alums from that year or that won that year. So it was just super exciting. It was just, everything was new for all of us. For me as a freshman, and then I know for the sophomores, juniors, and seniors for experiencing that win. And yeah, it was just a really special team. But then, yeah, I think the next year, I remember it just being it felt like a very different meet. We just kind of, I don't know, we like walked in there with a little more swagger, and it was just the way we won every single one of those relays. I mean, I was only on one of them, so I got to watch all of them, and it was just incredible. I mean, like at least 2 or 3 of them were really close, and we somehow always got our hand on the wall first, and it was usually an American record. And just the jumping up and down on the bleachers and watching Greg like go nuts during those races, that's what I'll always remember. And yeah, it was just like nothing was going to stop us. You know, it was like, we're going to get our hand on the wall first on this relay. It's just going to happen. And it was just top to bottom every race. We were, I mean, we just had so many people in the A finals, and it was a really fun meet, really great meet.
Yeah, and yesterday Katie and Kim mentioned, and they were just recapping every NCs that they were a part of, right? Every NC's championships, and they were saying day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. Obviously, with day 1 being the 800 freestyle relay. Kim, how much did you women? How much pride did you all take in that one relay, starting off strong? And Katie, with that being your only relay, right? Like, how much pride did you take in on being on that relay and leading the team off on day 1?
I mean, I talked about this yesterday a little bit, but that gets the ball rolling, and we have a team meeting before that every year, and I mean before every session really, but before that one, Greg always says the same thing of like, it's just one event. We can't get too emotionally invested in this. It's just one event, and then we come back to the hotel, and like we have a lot of days ahead of us, but inevitably we all get super emotionally invested in that, and we're screaming our heads off. And I think the past 3 years at least, we've like stormed the deck after that relay, because it's just like so exciting to kick off this amazing meet that way. And we know it sets the tone, and so there's a lot of nerves before that one. But I think after, I mean, the 2 times Katie anchored it, after she touches the wall, there's a lot of relief and a lot of excitement to get more than just those 4 people swimming. So yeah, I mean, I think Greg puts a lot of emotional energy and like trust and faith in the people he puts on that relay for that reason, like more so than the other ones, just because like that one plays such a critical role in setting the tone, whether we want it to or not. I think we talk about like, let's not have this night affect us, but it definitely does. And at least the past 3 years, it's affected the team super well. So.
My freshman year, I remember that relay. We were really excited for that relay. Greg could have left either Simone or Leah off of that relay just to save them for other relays, but he decided to put both of them on. Plus I was on it. Plus I think it was Ella. And we just, it was just like, all right, let's see what we can do. Like, let's see how far I think we had already broken the American record at Pac-12s. And then it was like, all right, let's see how far we can take this down. So that was really fun. And then the next year, I felt like we were kind of more of underdogs on that relay. Not really, but I think we got second at Pac-12s.
Yeah, I think we might have no, you got second. Cal
either got second or third. We were all just a little bit off, and I think either Cal or USC may have beaten us at Pac-12s. Mm-hmm. And then, so we weren't in the middle lane. I think we were in lane 2 or 3. We just got the ball rolling and had a really great swim, kind of top to bottom. I think Draybot led off, and Ella and Brooke. We got the ball rolling and then didn't look back from there. And I think each time the team won a relay, it was like, all right, like let's try to win them all. And Kim was on a couple of them, I know. So
Yeah.
She had a little bit of a different perspective than I did, but they were fun to watch.
That's just so cool to kind of hear you girls talk about, you know, what you remember from the meets, you know, being different perspectives, being different positions, right? But the one constant is, you know, Greg and Tracy, right? And Kim, I know how wonderful of a person Kim is, and Kim is super thankful for her opportunity to work with Greg and Tracy. But, you know, I want to hear from the both of you. How have both Greg and Tracy played a role in your lives, right? And currently, or, you know, in the past, in your experience at Stanford, how have they played a role in shaping you to not only be a great swimmer, but like an even better human being, obviously?
I mean, I talked about this yesterday, so Katie can go first.
Okay.
I'll think if I can think of anything more. But
yeah, I mean, they play such a central role in both our team experience, our swimming experience, but then also just our overall college experience. You know, you don't really, I mean, you spend the most time when you're a swimmer in college with your swim team and with your coaches, and you know, you're away from your family for the first time, at least for most of us. And so it's like they're kind of looking out for you, and also, you know, coaching you and have your best interests at heart. And so, yeah, they've been awesome, and it's been so much fun to get to know them and their families. And they really care about all of us, each and every one of us, and take the time to form those relationships with each of us. And that's been really meaningful.
Kim, you got anything to add to that? Or
I mean, no, that's very well worded, obviously, and accurate, I think, about Greg and Tracy. Yeah, they definitely play a huge role. You're away from home. I think at one point I was like, you guys are like my aunt and uncle, I feel like. So I do feel like you get to know them really well as people. And now that I'm off the team, it's really fun to see that relationship kind of blossom into something different, and also just carry on. I think part of the fear in not being on the team anymore now was kind of losing all those relationships, or not being presented with them as frequently, obviously, when you would see your teammates and coaches twice a day, or once a day, but literally every day. So yeah, and that's been great to just know that I feel like I'll have them in my life forever. And it like looks differently now that they're not coaching me, but they definitely, I can honestly say the entire time I was their swimmer, they definitely saw me as a person first and foremost. And I mean, they get really invested in obviously our success as athletes, but also our successes and failures as students, and then just like in our lives, like home life, and just like relationship lives with friends and whoever on campus. But they definitely provide guidance in that regard, or just like a listening ear. And I'm really grateful for that, just because I think it'd be really hard to just show up every day and know that they only played the role of coach. But if they did that, I think that'd be a little harder and they also play a role of like a mentor. And I mean, they keep like their professional relationship, obviously, but I definitely felt like I did go to them with a lot. And sometimes there were decisions that needed to be made that were just in my best interest, like mental health wise, rather than as an athlete. And they definitely helped me with that. And they were going to prioritize that over me like getting in the pool or whatever. So.
Love it. And, you know, like you talk about all your amazing experiences at Stanford. Katie, you moved from the East Coast. Kim, you moved all the way down to NorCal. You know, starting the college experience is a life-changing event. And yes, both of you committed to Stanford. You both knew you wanted to swim at Stanford. But again, making the move to college, you still have some sort of hesitation. What was the one experience, whether it be freshman year, sophomore year, whatever, during your time at Stanford, what was the one experience that allowed you to say, hey, you know what? I made the right decision. I am confident. Yes, this is my home. This is the place for me.
I think I felt it pretty early on. with the team, we would have preseason where we would go to Hawaii for about a week before school starts. Stanford starts pretty late. We start end of September. So Greg usually gets the team out early September, and we kind of have some time to bond and get back into training and all those things. But yeah, I remember just getting together with the team for the first time and really feeling like I connected with everyone and felt like kind of shared a lot of the same values and interests and goals and all those things. So yeah, I'd say pretty early on. And then once classes started, it was a lot of fun to have kind of that group of people that you get to do a lot of things with. You know, you train in the morning and then you go to class and you might have a teammate or two in your class, and you go to lunch and you meet up with your teammates, and you know, it's like you really go into college when you're a part of a team like that, kind of that group of friends and people that are looking out for you already. You don't have to work as hard as the other students maybe to form those friendships. And so I felt really grateful early on my freshman year to kind of have that set group already, and kind of feel like I could rely on them and do a lot of different things with them.
Great. Kim?
Yeah, I mean, I think there were different timelines for me feeling at home or like I fit in terms of like academics, swimming wise, socially, all that stuff. So, but like similar to Katie, I felt it pretty early on, like with the team and knowing that I wanted to be there, and then I made the right call on which team. I mean, ultimately, like you're being recruited to a swim team, so that was kind of the big decision which team I wanted to be on, and I felt like I knew I made that pretty early on of fall quarter in my freshman year, and just I couldn't get enough of being with everyone. I just ate it up, and like I probably could have made more friends that weren't on the team during that time when everyone's like, again, like working really hard to make friendships, but I felt just like immediate connections and immediate friendships being formed from that first week in Maui. And I do remember like thinking, I'm sure everyone is to a certain extent, but people and myself, I know, are really molded by those they surround themselves with. And I remember thinking how grateful I was to be surrounded by so many girls. Like I just hadn't experienced that, of just like so many solid, good, like funny, witty, smart, like hardworking people. And I just admired everyone I was with. And that made me feel really secure and solid about being there all the time and being surrounded by these people. Cause I was like, this is going to shape me into a better person. And ultimately, like reflecting on that, I definitely think it did. And people shaped me into who I am now, not being on the team. And so that came pretty quick. Academically, I mean, it's hard not to feel some sort of imposter syndrome there when you're like, okay, like I'm doing okay, but I don't know if I like should be here academically, when you're meeting just what looks like average, I don't know, just people you went to high school with, and then they're like, oh yeah, when I was like a sophomore in high school, like I was working on like finding this neuron that helps cure like cancer in little like 5-year-old whatever, and I'm just like, what? Like so that stuff took a little longer, I think, to feel like I belonged. And then I think swimming wise, you're training with such good athletes, and even when you're keeping up in practice and doing well in practice, it's when it comes to being meet time, and I think most of us kind of came from being a top dog in whatever area we came from and whatever club team we were on, and at those dual meets when you're getting like whatever 4th or 5th, or people are dropping your best time in a practice suit, you're like, oh, okay, like I don't know if I'm in the right group here. I don't know if I have the right cap on, but I mean, that takes some time. I think after qualifying for NCAA's my freshman year, I was like, okay, like I made the cut in that regard. And like in terms of racing, like I felt like I earned my way or whatever, felt like I could fit in at practice. But I think that was kind of the benchmark for feeling like I belonged on the team, like swimming wise. So yeah, I don't know. That was a lot of talking, but
no, love it.
Right into all the different realms.
Yeah. And then,
go ahead, Kelly.
Okay. One thing I think that, you know, over the years, especially once you get into college and, you know, I know athletes feel it even earlier than this, but we take our sport very seriously and it's important to us. And it's also, you know, a lot of training and a lot of years of doing the similar things. So just, again, this can be a really simple answer, but how did you keep it fun for yourself?
Do you want to go?
And like, I think probably I would assume that maybe some of the things you already said, you know, kind of overlap, but.
Yeah. I think, yeah, I think a lot of it goes to what Kim said about like who you're surrounded with. And I feel like that kind of goes back to, felt like I had really good coaches and teammates growing up, who kept it fun and made it fun from the start. And then kind of each level, you know, the training gets harder and things get harder, but I've enjoyed each step of it. And I think a lot of that has to do with the people, whether that's the people that I trained with or the people that coached me or, you know, my high school team and my classmates even, and all of that through high school. And then of course in college, just as Kim said, like being a part of that kind of group that I think all of us kind of experienced for the first time, where you're just with these girls for the whole day basically, and you really kind of bond with them on a different kind of level than you would in high school and things like that. So that was kind of a new experience. So I guess it's a combination of the people and then just kind of these new experiences that make it different and make it fun in its own new way.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I would definitely say the people, and like I got into swimming for social reasons. Like my two best friends were swimming on a summer league team, and I wanted to be with them more. And I think that just kind of continued throughout. Like I had really good relationships on Bellevue Club, and I looked forward every Friday. Senior Elite, it was called at the time, would go to Chipotle after practice on Fridays, and we'd be there for hours, just like till like 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. and practice ended at like 5 or 4:30 or something. And I don't know, just like always the social component was huge, and being surrounded by good people and people that you had fun with no matter what you were doing. Like I think Katie can attest to this too, but just like sitting at meals for like 2 hours after we finished eating and just talking and joking around and just like being just completely yourself and such goofballs. I don't know, just those are some of my favorite memories from college and what I miss most for sure. And I mean, we had fun. Like we would do a 400 IM practice or whatever on a Thursday, or Saturday practice would be super hard. And when me and Katie were living together with our suite, which was definitely my favorite year of like housing, we would play Just Dance, and we would just like, I don't even know. We were in the common room all the time. Though, like no one was really in their rooms a lot. We would do work together out there and be like playing goofy music and playing air guitar, whatever, just like doing random things together. And we would, I don't know, bond over food. And there was, I'm laughing at this like one memory of just our favorite like cake shop we just would obsess over. And there was one night where we all wanted it so bad on a weekend, and
it was the week after these.
Yeah, the week after NCAA, so we had to come back for
we came back to final exams, and we weren't swimming, so we were taking our exams, but we were also playing Just Dance to stay in shape or like move, I guess. And then we were like, all right, we got to go to Susie Cakes, and somebody realized that it closed in like 10 minutes, and so we ran to Kim's car. Kim drove us. I think she ran a red light.
Like, I ran a red light, and we had 4 people in my
so
back.
delirious.
I don't know where you were, Katie, but you guys were like 4 in the back, like 2 in the front, and I'm like driving, like weaving through traffic to get to Susie Cakes. And we got our Susie Cakes, and then ate it, played more Just Dance. So like that, I don't know. That was just my example of like, I know me and Katie, like we still talk about that sweet, like living together and how fun it was. And I mean, even in practice, like sucked, or I croggled the whole time, like knowing I was coming back with them. Like I knew I had support, and if I needed to let it out afterwards, I can talk to them, and they were going to make me feel better. And at the end of the day, no one could take away like my friendships with those people, no matter how swimming was going or school was going. So I think it's easy to keep it fun when you have those relationships.
And just so you know, Kim, those Friday night dinners are still happening. A lot of our kids go.
Do they go to Chipotle?
You know that Chipotle? They're actually opening another Chipotle in Bellevue, but man, the kids go all over. They've been going to Mod a lot. So, but yeah, those traditions stay for a while, and everyone kind of takes part in it. Kim, one more memory while we have Katie on this, but you and Leah talked about the time you were moved over to the distance freestyle set on a Tuesday afternoon.
Oh my gosh!
When you did 8. Yeah, I'll let you tell the story because Kelly's gonna love this story.
Okay. I think I've told Katie my perspective on this. She does stuff like 8-300s or whatever all the time, so it's not probably as significant of a memory for her. But Katie, if you remember your freshman year, that Tuesday afternoon we were doing one group was doing 8-150s, one group did 8-200s, one group did 8-300s, and I was moved over to the 8-300s, and I looked at Greg and was like, what? And he was like, yeah, I can help you 400 IM, get over here. And there was only I think it was you and Megan going first, and then Leah, Ella, and then I was third behind not your lane. And you didn't get me on the first one, but you came for me every time to lap me on those other 7. And I would literally see you rev up your tempo when you saw me to come get me. Oh. And you would touch, and I would flip her, just so defeated. And I've told Greg.
I know I was not intentionally trying.
You just needed, I think I've told Greg.
I was probably going harder on the last 50 anyway, it was
yeah. I brought it up to Greg, and I was like, I'm pretty sure you only put me in there so that Katie would have someone to race. And he denies it as well. He really was saying he needed my 400 IM freestyle to get better, but I think so. It pushed me too, I really tried to not get lapped. I tried to get under whatever 307 or whatever I was holding, and Katie was holding 245. So we were trying to push each other in a different way. But I'll never forget that set. I'm sure it's a distant memory for Katie with all these other distant sets. But
I love that.
No, you've told that story so many times that I remember it.
She denies it every time.
I love it. Well, Kim, just how we end a lot of our shows, Katie, we like to end our shows on something positive, and with it being an uncertain time for everyone and everyone not knowing when we're going to go back to normal, what kind of words of encouragement can you provide for all our listeners and viewers?
Yeah, I think all of us are in a pretty similar boat right now, whether you're an 8-year-old swimmer or an Olympian or Olympic hopeful. I don't think any of us know when our next swim meet will be, or when our next normal practice will be, or anything like that. So I think, we should all take a little bit of comfort knowing that we're kind of all in it together. And I think we're all gonna appreciate it even more when we're all back together, training and at swim meets. I know I just can't wait to see my teammates again, and can't wait to see the people that I typically see at swim meets and just catch up with them. I think we're eventually going to be able to kind of laugh about some of these different things that we've experienced during this time, and share some of those things. And be memories that we'll tell our grandchildren about. So yeah, I think it's important to just stay upbeat as much as you can. I love that swim teams are staying connected through Zoom calls or, like this podcast or things like that. It's been really neat to see the swimming community kind of stick together through this time. And so I'm really encouraged that when we all get back together, I think we're going to have, even stronger relationships and, an even greater appreciation for the sport and the way it brings us all together.
Kim, you've always had a great message the last 2 days, and again, it reinforces the idea. So what do you got for us, Kim?
Something I reflected on yesterday after we finished, but my advice, I think the first 2 times was kind of like make the most of the opportunity, definitely, and I don't retract that at all. But one thing I've personally been struggling with during this time, and just want to like encourage everyone else to kind of cut themselves some slack. And this is unprecedented time, and no generation's really gone through this before, like in this kind of manner. So cut yourself some slack, and you don't always need to be productive during this time. And I know swimmers especially are so disciplined and are really go with school and swimming and whatever they have going on, especially Bellevue Club. I know all the school districts in that area are probably pushing them pretty hard on school, and I know that keeps them busy, but they're so used to it. I'm guessing that just the go, just give yourself some time to spend that quality time with your family and take a break from whatever, try to do something you haven't done. But this isn't a time where you have to accomplish something that you haven't done before, learn a new skill just because everyone's in quarantine. So make sure you're being kind to yourself, and stay connected with everyone, because that helps a lot. So enjoy the Zoom calls that Andrew and Kelly are putting on for you, and Evan and Dwight and Katrina and all the other Bellevue Club coaches. And just look forward to when we all get back together.
That's perfect, Kim. And Kim, thank you so much for being with us the last few days. We really enjoyed being with you. Katie, thank you for hopping on a call. I know you rushed right after class. Kim, Katie, I hope you all stay healthy and stay safe during this time. Okay, so stay up, stay positive.
Thank you guys so much. It was good to see you, Kim, and Katie. It was great to meet you virtually.
Thanks for having me on. Hopefully I'll see you out of school sometime.
Yes, soon.
All right. Bye, girls.
Thank you
so
guys.
much.
Have a good day.
Having us.
Bye.
Bye.